सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे पाश्चात्यादेशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद संसार दावा नललिर्हलोका त्राणाय कारुण्य घन घनात्तां संसार दावा नललिर्हलोका त्राणाय कारुण्य घनात्तां प्राप्तश्च कल्याण गुणानवश वन्दे गुरुश्री चरणारविन्द प्राप्तश्च कल्याण गुणानवश वन्दे गुरुश्री चरणारविन्द महाप्रभो कीर्तन नृत्य गीता वादित्रमाद मनशरशेना महाप्रभु कीर्तन नृत्य गीता वादित्रमादान मनसुरसेना रोमांच कंपा श्रुतरंग भाज वंदे गुरुश्री चरणारविंद रोमांच कंपा श्रुतरंग भाजो वंदे गुरुश्री चरणारविंद श्री विग्रहाराधन नृत्य नाना श्रृंगार तान मंदिर मार्जनादो श्री विग्रहाराधन नृत्य नाना श्रृंगार तान मंदिर मार्जनादो युक्तश्च भक्तांशो निजुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरुश्री चरणारविन्दम् निजुञ्जतोऽपि वन्दे गुरुश्री चरणारविन्दम् चतुर्विध श्री भगवत प्रसाद स्वादन तृप्तान् हरिभक्त संघान् चतुर्विध श्री भगवत प्रसाद स्वादन तृप्तान् हरिभक्त संघान् कृतैव तृप्तिं भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् भजत सदैव वन्दे गुरो श्री चरणारविन्दम् श्री राधिका माधो बड़ो पारो माधुर्यो लीला गुणरूप नाम नाम श्री राधिका माधव्योर पारो माधुर्य लीला गुणरूप नाम नाम प्रतीक्षणाशा धनलालोपाशा वन्दे गुरुश्री चरणारविन्द प्रतीक्षणा स्वादनलोलुपास्य वन्दे गुरुश्री चरणारविन्द निकुंजो यूना रति केली सिद्धोई जाजाली भी जोक्तिर प्रेक्षणीया
कुञ्जयूनो रतिकेलिसेधै न्यायादिभियो प्रेक्षणीया
तत्र दिदक्षादतिवल्लभश्च वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्द
तत्र दिदाक्षादतिवल्लभस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्द
साक्षाद्धरितेन शास्त्रशास्त्रैः रुक्तस्तथा भावतैव सद्भिः
तद्गीतेन समस्तशास्त्रे उक्तसदावादेव साधि
किन्तु प्रभोर्जो प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्द
किन्तु प्रभोया प्रिय एव तस्य वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्द
यस्य प्रसाद भगवत्प्रसाद यस्य प्रसाद गतिकुतोऽपि
प्रसादात् भगवत्प्रसादो यस्य प्रसादानलितकोऽपि
दैयंस्तु भंस्तश्च यशस्वी सद्भि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
नायस्तु भक्तञ्च यशस्वी साधि वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम् वन्दे गुरो श्रीचरणारविन्दम्
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे
जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जगद्गुरु श्रीला प्रभुपद
जय प्रभुपद जय प्रभुपद जगद्गुरु श्रील प्रभुपद
जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव
जय गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव गुरुदेव जय गुरुदेव
निताय गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल
गौर हरि बोल हरि बोल हरि बोल गौर हरि बोल
गौर प्रेमानंदी हरि हरि
जय अनंत कोटि वैष्णव जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद की जय श्री श्री राधा कृष्ण गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंज राधा कुंज गिरि गोवर्धन की जय श्री वृंदावन धाम की जय श्री मायापुर धाम की जय गंगा माई यमुना माई की जय भक्ति देवी तुलसी महारानी की जय समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to the assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to assembled devotees Hare Krishna all glories to Guru Shri Guru and Gauranga Jai Shri Gauranga Hare Krishna
I got to see your thing online. It's cooking.
Come Her Grace Poornima Mataji She's a senior devotee and disciple of His Holiness Gopal Krishna Goswami Maharaj. She kindly accepted our invitation to today, and she would speak about Ganga Mata Goswamini, one of our Vaishnavis in the line of Sampradaya. Thank you so much, Poornima Mataji, and we are waiting to hear from you. Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Maybe you want to say how long she's been serving in Vrindavan?
Yeah, I'm getting a feedback that I should say more about her. When I asked her that I would like to introduce you today, she said, everybody, you introduced me already in the baking class, but anyhow, she's serving long time in Vrindavan. In fact, she's the wife of our head Pujari. And since 1988, I believe, or earlier, 1988, she's residing in Vrindavan. And she's the festival kitchen head. She's during festivals, she's running the festival kitchen, and all the preparations and everything is under her supervision. And yeah, she's the best cook, I can say. And we are very happy to have you here today. Thank you so much for accepting our invitation. Hare Krishna.
Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yutapadkamlam Shri Gurun Shri Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvi Tam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Hey Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandhu Jagatpate Gopesh Gopika Kant Shri Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Shri Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna. So today we are going to speak about Ganga Mata Goswamini. But before we start speaking about Ganga Mata Goswamini, today is a very, very special day. It's a day Prabhupada started ISKCON, so we have to speak about Prabhupada first before we glorify any other great devotees of the Lord. Because of Prabhupada's mercy, we are all sitting here today. Otherwise, it was not possible. And this morning I was thinking about it. I was listening to a class and I was thinking that actually, at the age of 70, everybody just wants to sit back and retire and, and do their things, And Prabhupada was sitting here in Vrindavan doing his bhajan. He didn't need to go out. But you can see he is actually compassion personified. So much compassion he had for conditioned souls that he crossed the oceans to lift up this condition of the living entity. So we are very, very grateful to Srila Prabhupada. We offer our gratitude to Prabhupada that without him we will not be sitting here today, and without him we will not know about Hare Krishna Mahamantra, we will not know about Ganga Mata Goswamini, so we will not know anyone. So we are very, very thankful to him, and we pray to his lotus feet to please always save us from all the problems and whatever mistakes we are making and offenses and everything, and please bring us back home, back to Godhead. That's our goal. Hare Krishna. So today we are going to speak about Ganga Mata Goswamini. Ganga Mata Goswamini is one of the Acharya in Rupa Goswami's line, and she is a very great devotee of Lord Chaitanya. So I'm just going to read her biography, and I'm going to just add some things, whatever is missing in there. Okay? So, Ganga Mata Goswamini was born in 1601 in the place called Puntia, which is in the district of Rajashahi, and it's at present Bangladesh. Yes, it's in present Bangladesh. She was a daughter of a king. Her father's name was Naresh Narayan, and she was the only child of her parents. And so within the present state of Bengal lies what was once the kingdom of Sri Naresh Narayan. King Naresh Narayan had a daughter named Sachi. From early childhood, Sachi was a topmost devotee of the Lord. Within a short time, she began her education. So when she was born, parents were very happy because small little girl came to their house. So they were very happy. And because also she was their only child, so they were also happy for that. And as she was growing up, she was devotee from her childhood. She had utmost devotion for Lord Krishna, even when she was small. So when she became little big, then parents, they wanted her to study. So she started her study with grammar and poetry. So from early childhood, Sachi was the topmost devotee of the Lord. Within a short time, she began her education. At first, she absorbed herself in grammar and poetry. That was the first thing. And actually, if you see, many of the devotees of the Lord, the great devotees, they learn poetry somehow. We see also about Mirabai and many others, they learn poetry because this is something which is a very nice way of expressing your feelings and your mood, and you can sing also, and it attracts the people just otherwise, just by saying things now. So poetry, you can see Narottam Das Thakur's poetry, so beautiful, and so it's attracting the people also. So she also started her education with poetry and grammar, and very soon she became expert in these things, and then she gradually she started studying the scriptures. After that, after she studied grammar, then she studied her scriptures. Many of the devotees also of the Lord, that's how they start. First they start the grammar because they have to understand the Sanskrit first before they can read the scriptures. So after learning the grammar very nicely, and some places they also say they learn Nyaya. Nyaya means logic. So when you're studying the scriptures, there also logic has to be there. There's always discussions, and you have to put your words, and the other person is defeating you. Then you have to again defeat that person. So Nyaya is also there, the logic. They also study that. But it's not mentioned that she studied that. She only studied grammar and poetry. And then she started studying the scriptures. Even as a young girl, she was always fascinated with Krishna consciousness. As Sachi came to the age of all the young boys were charmed by her beauty. She was the daughter of a king. Mostly they are beautiful because, it's just their karma. So, but within Sachi's mind, there was not the least attraction for any of the young men, no matter how handsome or rich they were. Her mind was always filled with thoughts of Madan Gopal. Sri Naresh Narayan began to think of arranging for his daughter's marriage. Upon understanding her father's intention, Sachi told him, this is very interesting, so hear this sentence, "I will not marry a mortal man born to this world of death." She didn't want to marry any ordinary person because she was completely in love with Krishna already. So she didn't think it was necessary for her to just, go to some mortal person when she already has a Lord with her. So she didn't want to get married. The king and queen wanted to make arrangement for her marriage, but Sachi told them, I don't want to get married. Always regretting their failure to arrange their daughter's wedding, they were always very sad because all the parents, they want their daughters to get married. And if they're not married on time, they're worried, oh, what's going to happen? She's not married, she's getting old. But she was a daughter of a king, where it was very easy for her to find any boy. But she was not interested. So the parents were feeling that they failed to give her a good married life, or although it was not their fault, it was her choice. But still, as parents, they just felt that was their responsibility, which they could not fulfill. And anyway, in due course of time, the queen and king, they got old and they left their body. So then, after the passing of the king and queen, the royal succession fell to Sachi. Sachi accepted the responsibility of governing the kingdom. So this is also very important here. She did not leave the house just, because parents are gone, so that's it, I go now. No, she was feeling that she has some responsibility to take care of the kingdom, which belonged to her parents. So she did not, although within her heart, she was always thinking of Krishna. It's just like reminds me of Raghunath Das Goswami, when Mahaprabhu told him that don't just run away from home. Stay like a normal person, but from within your heart, you always think of Krishna. Serve Krishna within your heart. So this is what he did also for some time. And whenever he got chance, he just went to Mahaprabhu. So she did the same. One day, on the plea of seeing more of the kingdom, Sachi left to visit the holy places of pilgrimage, after appointing some relatives to govern on her place. So what happens is that in old times, kings, and they were going undercover to see their kingdom and see the people, how they're living and how they're doing. So this is what Sachi Mata, she wanted to leave already before, but one day she thought, okay, that's it, now it's time for me to leave. So, but she didn't want to tell her relatives, because otherwise they won't let her go, or they will be sad, or there's too many obstacles. So what she did, that she told them, oh, I'm just going to visit my kingdom, and she appointed different relatives for different things. And then she left. She left for pilgrimage. Although she wandered here and there, nowhere could her heart find satisfaction. She decided to seek out the bona fide spiritual master. After much travel, she arrived in Jagannath Puri. One day, after taking darshan of the Jagannath deity, she received an inner message and was inspired to go to Vrindavan. So because Jagannath Puri is closer to Bangladesh, so she did not really go to Vrindavan first. She went to Jagannath Puri first. Like we also see Sachi Mata also ordered Mahaprabhu to stay in Jagannath Puri because it's closer to Mayapur. So when the devotees are coming and going, so she can get some news of him. So she also decided that I should go to Jagannath Puri, which is closer, because anyway she was on pilgrimage. So Jagannath Puri came, I guess, the first place. And then there she was also looking for the spiritual master in Jagannath Puri. She stayed there for some time. She was serving Jagannath temple, but she couldn't find anywhere. She couldn't find the satisfaction. And there then Jagannath revealed to her to go to Vrindavan, told her instruction to go to Vrindavan. Just like Mahaprabhu told Rupa Goswami, Sanatana Goswami, you go to Vrindavan. So these instructions are coming from the Lord or their pure devotees for some to get some special or important work done by those personalities. That is why otherwise they don't tell everyone. Nobody tells us to go somewhere, to do this and do that. Of course, they told Prabhupada disciples, that you should go to these different places to open the new temples. So, and they also empower them to do that. Because without the mercy of the Lord, it's not possible to do anything. So, Ganga Mata Goswamini, she was also inspired by Jagannath, Lord Jagannath to come to Vrindavan. She decided to go to Vrindavan. With this, Sachi felt that the moon of her good fortune had arisen. In Vrindavan, she chanced to meet Haridas Pandit, whose single-minded devotion to Gauranga and Nityananda was unsurpassed. Okay. Okay, it's coming after. Upon seeing the spiritual power and austerity of his divine form, Sachi became filled with ecstasy. After meditating deeply for several days, Haridas Pandit gave Sachi shelter. She, Sachi, fell at the lotus feet of Haridas Pandit and with her eyes pouring tears and prayed for his mercy. The Chaitanya Charitamrita gives Haridas Pandit's preceptorial ancestry as follows. Anantacharya was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. We all know Gadadhar Pandit is in Panchatattva and he is a Shakti of Mahaprabhu. She is Radharani. So she was in the line of Gadadhar Pandit. Anantacharya is a dear disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. Where is it? Ananta Acharya was a disciple of Gadadhar Pandit. His body was always overwhelmed. It's written in Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's from Chaitanya Charitamrita. His body was always overwhelmed by the ecstasy of Krishna Prem. He was magnanimous and advanced in all respect. Ananta Acharya was a reservoir of good qualities. No one can estimate how great he was. Pandit Haridas was his beloved disciple. Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur says, according to Gaur Ganadesh Deepika, Anantacharya was a Sudevi Sakhi from Krishna's Radharani's 8 principal gopis. But Ganga Mata Mat in Puri, they say the Anantacharya was the Vinod Manjari. So I guess both are okay because both can be in one personality. We see in Gaur Leela there are many personalities that who already have many, like for example Ramananda Roy, Vishakha Sakhi, Arjun Sakha, Arjunia Gopi, and 3-4 personalities. So it's possible that Anantacharya also is Sudevi and Vinod Manjari both. And also it says that Haridas was a Ras Manjari. Haridas Pandit Thakur, Ganga Mata Goswami's spiritual master, is a Ras Manjari. In order to examine Sachi's qualification, okay, now she wanted to have initiation from Haridas, Pandit Haridas Thakur. So it says in the Shastras that once one wants to take initiation, they should examine their spiritual master. That if the spiritual master can take him back home, back to Godhead, is actually following the spiritual standards. Similarly, the spiritual master also tests the disciple, that he is a sincere disciple. He is going to follow my instructions. He is going to always be honest. All these different tests are there. So here Haridas Thakur is examining Sachi's qualification. In order to examine Sachi's qualification as a disciple, Haridas Pandit said, "It is not possible for the daughter of a king to go to Vrindavan and live as a poor devotee, constantly absorbed in bhajan with little to eat and no comforts. It will be better for you to stay at home and worship than to go to Vrindavan." So he was testing her. Because, first of all, he was right also in one sense, because she was a woman, young girl, she was not very old, she was quite young, and alone, and she was the daughter of a king, living with all the comforts, and beautiful. How is it possible for such a girl, young girl, to come to Vrindavan and perform the austerities? So he wanted to test her if she is really serious about her spiritual life. If she is really serious that she wants to actually do bhajan. So he tested her. But she did not really paid much attention to that. One day Haridas Pandit Goswami said to Sachi Devi, "If you like giving up all pride and fear, you may wander throughout Braj and practiced begging from place to place as a renounced order. You have my blessings. So, first when he asked from her, will you be able to do that? So he was testing her, of course. And she understood he's actually testing me. And then she after hearing all these things also, she did not become discouraged or anything. And she said, she didn't say anything, but she continued what she was doing. So what she was doing is she was cleaning every morning Govindji temple. She was cleaning some of the temples also because he was staying in Govindji temple, Haridas Pandit. And so she was cleaning every day the temple, and she was doing her chanting and parikrama and going to different places and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam from Haridas Pandit. So she did it for some time, and then Haridas Pandit was very pleased with her. Then he accepted her as his disciple. So one day Haridas Pandit Goswami said to Sachimata, if you like giving up all pride and fear, you may wander throughout the Braj and practice begging from place to place as a renounced devotee. You have my blessings. Upon hearing the words of her Gurudev, Sachi's joy knew no bounds. So it means she understood that she got a shelter of the spiritual master. Thereafter, freed from all false ego, her body covered only with rags, she went house to house in Vrindavan begging alms in the fashion of a bumblebee who takes only a little pollen from each flower. In this way, she showed the intense renunciation and austerity of a highly advanced devotee. All the devotees in Vrindavan astonished her severe renunciation. So she was going from house to house asking for madhukari. And when someone is asking madhukari, they should not go more than 5 houses. That's the system. 5 houses bus. And they call out 3 times. If someone comes out, gives them something, fine. Otherwise, they go to the next house. If they get something that day from those 5 houses, they accept it. Otherwise, they fast. That is the madhukari system, actually. So she was doing that. But the people in Vrindavan, Vrindavan also, all devotees there, so they came to know about her, they knew her, and they were very pleased with her. So, she was getting madhukari. So she was only getting, whatever madhukari she was getting, she was living on that. Gradually, Sachi's body became frail and weak. She grew thin. She took no notice of her condition and continued following her austere regimen. Physically exhausted from her diligent service, she would sleep on the banks of Yamuna and then rise and next morning to cleanse the Lord's temples. She would regularly circumambulate some holy places, see the arti of the deity, and listen to the lectures of Srimad Bhagavatam. Can you imagine these things of some young girl doing all these things? Now we have all the comfort still. For example, in our house, if we have all the comforts, but if electricity goes for half an hour, we are finished. And especially in the summer, we cannot take it. So we cannot even imagine this kind of austerity. And she has, usually like for example, Haridas Thakur, when the prostitute came to him in the forest, and then he gave that hut to her in which he was staying before leaving. And Raghunathas Goswami, when he was on the bank of Radhakund, he was performing his austerity. But then Sanatana Goswami saw that Krishna is coming to protect him or something. Then he got one hut made for him. But Sachi Devi's spiritual master did not give her any place to stay. She didn't have any hut. She didn't have any temple. She didn't have any place. So this young girl, very renounced girl, staying on the bank of the river, on Yamuna. Every night she would come, sleep under the sky, and in the morning, get up early morning, take bath and go and clean the temples. And then visit some places, do madhukari, live on the madhukari, and hear the Bhagavatam. That's how she was living in Vrindavan, serving the Lord and serving her spiritual master also. which is we cannot even imagine actually in this time. These days it's not possible to. We need to have all our comforts, especially the ladies. We need to have all our nice clothes and nice jewelry, or at least nice clothes, isn't it? Nice saris. Yeah, men also, but they can still live in, like for example, I tell you, my husband, whenever we go somewhere, he takes only 3 sets of clothes. And I have to take like 10 saris with me. So, it's a little bit different. Men also have their attachment, especially these days, they have their attachment with different gadgets. Different computers, different kind of phones and this and that, bikes and computers and what's this called? MacBook, or I don't even know, different cameras or different things, smartwatch, different things. So they have their attachments, that is true. But that's not mentioned in the Shastras. Mentioned is only the ladies, they need more. So anyway, so she was performing very intense renunciation, which we cannot even think in these days. Seeing the intense renunciation of Sachi Devi, Haridas Pandit Goswami's heart was filled with pity. His mercy towards her increased. Smiling, he called Sachi Devi and said to her, "You are a princess, and yet you have made such an intense effort to worship Krishna that seeing your renunciation and austerity in the cause of devotion, I have become supremely happy. Soon I shall give you initiation into the mantra." So all this time, he was testing her. This was all tests going on first. She was very joyful when he accepted her in his shelter, but he hadn't given her initiation. So finally, somewhere I read it was more than 1 year. After that, he became pleased with her and he decided to give her initiation. It reminds me also Narottam Das Thakur's story. Also, he had to wait for a long time for Lokanath Goswami because he didn't want to give him initiation. But because of his intense devotion also towards Lokanath Goswami, he had to break his vow not to give initiation to anyone. So he only has one disciple, Narottam Das Thakur. So similarly, Haridas Thakur also examined her for a long time because she was beautiful, she was young, she was a princess. So he wasn't sure that if she can actually continue like that. So, but he was very pleased to see that she is actually serious about her spiritual life. Haridas Pandit had one disciple named Sri Lakshmi Priya, toward whom he was very affectionate. Just at that time she arrived in Vrindavan. Sri Lakshmi Priya used to chant 300,000 names of Krishna daily. When she arrived, Haridas Pandit sent her to live near where Sachi Devi performed her daily bhajan, on the bank of the Radha Kund. Taking the order of her guru on her head, Lakshmi Priya went to Radha Kund to be with Sachi Devi and help her with her bhajan. So this Lakshmi Priya is actually the aunt of Sachi Devi. She was her relative, and she was a senior disciple of this Haridas Pandit. And it's just like Sarup Damodar, Mahaprabhu handed Raghunath Das Goswami to Sarup Damodar. Similarly, he handed Sachi Devi to Lakshmi Priya, because also as a woman it would have been better for her to be with under some senior Mataji. So she told Lakshmi Priya to be with her and teach her also about the bhajan, advanced bhajan, but she was already doing bhajan, but how to do intense bhajan and how to make more advancement in the spiritual life. So she went to also Radha Kund, and she was chanting 300,000 names. On one place I read that Sachi Devi was chanting 100,000 names. So maybe after with Lakshmi Priya she started chanting 300,000 names also, because association has a lot of effect on the person. And the both would go together to do parikrama of Govardhan every day and chant together. So Lakshmi Priya was teaching her also how to do the bhajan. Lakshmi Priya went to the Radha Kund to be with Sachi Devi and help her with her bhajan. Every day Sachi Devi and Lakshmi Priya would circumambulate Govardhan hill. In this way, in the company of Lakshmi Devi, Sachi continued her worship of Krishna with great determination, living on the banks of Radhakund until one day Haridas Pandit called for her to return. So she was there in Radhakund, I think almost 25 years. She was living with Lakshmi Priya. So when she was almost 50 years, he called her back to Vrindavan, to Sachi Devi. She came back to Vrindavan and Lakshmi Priya was still at Radhakund. And some places it says also that Lakshmi Priya left this world. So he called her back. Okay. Until one day Haridas Pandit called for her to return. He instructed her to quickly return to Jagannath Puri to continue with her bhajan and to preach what she had learned of Sri Chaitanya's teachings. At that time, almost all of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's personal associates had gone back to Godhead and had entered into the eternal unmanifest pastime. Sri Sachi Devi left Vrindavan and returned to Jagannath Puri. On the order of her Gurudev, she went to the house where Sarbhom Bhattacharya had once stayed. There she engaged in bhajan and began giving classes on Srimad Bhagavatam. So at that time, Sarbhom Bhattacharya's place was almost like ruins. So nobody was taking care of the place. And also there was a Shaligram of Sarbhom Bhattacharya nobody was taking care of that too. So Pandit Haridas told her to go there. It's so much like many other Mahaprabhu's associates. Mahaprabhu tells Rupa Goswami, you go this place, to Vrindavan. Sanatana Goswami, go there and take care of the places, excavate the places and find the pastime places. And so, same way he also told her to establish Sarbhom Bhattacharya's place again because it's completely ruined. Sachi Devi established first-class worship Shaligram according to the traditional rules and regulations. So she came to Sarbhom Bhattacharya's place. It was crumbling down. It was completely in ruin and nobody was taking care of Shaligram. So she found that Shaligram and she introduced the worship of Shaligram according to the Shastras, according to it should be Shaligram, Shila worship. And then she started giving classes. So we can see in this way also that for 50 years, not 50, okay, say 30 years. 30 years she was hearing. She did not give any class in Vrindavan. She was hearing and she was preparing, like her spiritual master was preparing her for the future. In our Navada Bhakti comes first Shravanam. First we have to hear. We hear, then we speak. And what we speak, what we hear. We don't concoct anything. Like Prabhupada says, spiritual master is the postman. He just reads what is written in the letter. He doesn't concoct anything new. So she was preparing, Pandit Haridas was preparing her for the future because she was going to be the Acharya of the future. So when she came to Sarbhom Bhattacharya's place, she started giving Bhagavatam classes. And in a short time, her Bhagavatam classes became very famous and people would come from miles around just to hear her. When one has purity, they don't need to go out and announce, oh, I'm pure. Oh, come to me. It's just like many times when you pass by some place and there is a kadamba tree or some champa tree or mogra tree, they don't come to me, oh, see, I have such a nice fragrance. But you feel it. With the air, with the breeze, it comes to you. So similarly, the glories of the great devotees of the Lord, they don't have to go and tell the people. What did Prabhupada do? He went to America, he just was sitting under one tree in a garden. And then his fragrance was going around. He was so fragrant. The people were just taking all this pure fragrance in them, and they were coming to him. So similarly, all the great devotees are like that. They don't have to go anywhere to announce, oh, we are great devotees. Oh, please, come to me. Hear from me. No, the people in general, they come to them because their purity, it's attracting them, people. So she was also, she was becoming famous, and people were coming from far to hear her Bhagavatam because of her purity and sincerity and her devotion. One day, the king of Jagannath Puri, Mukunda Dev, came to hear the Bhagavatam from Sachi Devi. Hearing her original explanations of Siddhanta, the king was completely astounded. He thought to himself that he would like to make a nice offering to Sachi Devi. Out of appreciation of her devotion to Krishna, that night he had a wonderful dream. Lord Jagannath came to him in his dream and ordered him, offer Sachi Devi a place on the banks of the Ganges. She's supposed to take care of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place, right? And Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place is on the bank of Shweta Ganga, right? So Jagannath Puri, and she also didn't really go and tell anyone, okay, give me some donation, I have to renovate the Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place. Because of her sincerity and her devotion, Krishna arranged that it comes to her, that someone comes or king comes and helps her in renovating this. The following day, King Mukunda Dev went to Sachi Devi with great humility. Sachi Devi offered the king a sitting place and asked him the reason for his visit. King Mukunda Dev explained about the vision he received from Jagannath and how the Lord has instructed him to construct a place by the Ganges for Sachi Devi. Okay, before that, King Mukunda Dev was also going to hear the classes, but he was not going as a king. Because if he would go as a king, then they had to give him a special place, had to offer him a special respect, and he didn't want to have this. He wanted to be just like a normal person. And he didn't want to disturb her. And so he was going as a normal place. But when Lord Jagannath came to his dream and told him to offer her something, then he came as a king. Because he wanted to offer some place or something to her. King Mukunda Dev explained about the vision he received from Jagannath and how the Lord had instructed him to construct a place by the Ganges for Sachi Devi. Sri Sachi Devi was not disposed to accept any sort of wealth, to comfortable situation, and wanted to refuse. But the king kept pressing his wishes again and again. At that time, not wanting to violate Lord Jagannath's order, King Mukunda Dev issued a decree naming a holy ghat by the side of Shweta Ganga after Sri Sachi Devi. So he gave that place, that Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place around that area, he gave to Sachi Devi. So she could, and also actually he renovated Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place too. The decree let it be known that Sri Sachi Devi was a princess who had left everything to come to Jagannath Puri and preach the holy gospel of Sri Chaitanya. So he wanted to tell everyone, she didn't come here for that. She does not need that. Because she actually herself is a princess. If she wants, she can have enough riches. She does, it's not that she was hankering for that. She does, but because she is a devotee of Krishna, she does not need that. But I am giving this as Mukunda Devi by the order of Lord Jagannath. I am giving this to her. I am offering this to her. It's not that she wants that. She doesn't want anything. So that's what he made sure that the people understand that she is not asking for anything for herself. One day, the day of Mahavaruni Snan approached, and Sri Sachi Devi wanted to go to the Ganges to bathe. So Mahavaruni Snan is also called Makar Sankranti some places. And Makar Sankranti, or some people also say it was on Ganga Sagar Mela. So anyway, one of these days, Sachi Mata wanted to go to take bath in Ganga. But because she had taken Kshetra Sannyas as her spiritual master, Gadadhar Pandit, he also had taken Kshetra Sannyas. So that is why when Mahaprabhu was leaving for South India, he wanted to go with him. And Mahaprabhu told him, no, you cannot go. You have taken Kshetra Sannyas. If you go, what people will say about me? So he said, I don't care about my Kshetra Sannyas. I don't care. I just want to be with you. So Mahaprabhu said, no, you cannot do that. And because he refused, Gadadhar Pandit fainted. And he told Sarbam Bhattacharya to take care of him. So similarly, she also had taken Kshetra Sannyas on the order of her spiritual master. Never leave Jagannath Puri. So she wanted to take bath in Ganga, but she also knew that she cannot go there because that's the order of her spiritual master. She cannot go. She has taken Kshetra Sannyas. But Lord Jagannath, he knew the desire of his devotee. But Sachi Devi's Gurudev had forbidden her ever to leave Jagannath Puri. Remembering the order of a Gurudev, Sri Sachi Devi gave up her desire to bathe in the Ganges. That night, Jagannath came to her in a dream and said, Sachi, don't think like that. The day when Varuni will take bath, that day you must go and bathe in the Shweta Ganga. Ganga Devi has been praying for your association, so you must go to the white Ganga, Shweta Ganga. Ganga Devi has been praying for your association. So one time Ganga Devi asked from the Lord also, all these sinful people will come to me and leave their sins in me. Where will I go to purify myself? It's a big question. Someone has to purify her also from her sins. Of course, she's always pure, but still. So what did the Lord say? Who knows? What did the Lord say? When the pure devotees of the Lord will come bathe in you, you will be purified. So she wanted to take the association of Sachi Mata, who is a pure devotee of the Lord. That's why she decided, by the mercy of the Lord, by the desire of the Lord also, to come to that pond. That time it was not Ganga, it was just a pond. To come and take bath there, because Ganga will appear there. Or maybe there was Ganga already before also in some part. It's possible also, because there is actually one story of Shweta Ganga. You know that story about Shweta Ganga? There was one king in Treta Yuga, I think. His name was Shwet, King Shwet. And he was the great devotee of Lord Jagannath. And he was offering every day. And he had, like King Indradyumna had arranged for a Bhoga offering for Lord Jagannath. So he also arranged a Bhoga offering of Lord Jagannath. So every morning he would come there with the Bhoga offering. So one day when he came there, he saw different gods, demigods are there, bringing their offerings, very special offerings and very divine or heavenly offerings. So he thought, well, I have this small offering. So, Jagannath, why would Jagannath accept my offering when he has such a big offering, from demigods? So then he was a little sad. But then immediately he had another vision that Lakshmi Devi is serving his offering, what he had brought, to Jagannath. And it's mentioned there, where I was reading this, it's mentioned there are two sets of deities. So I don't know why two sets of deities, but anyway, Lakshmi was offering that offering to Jagannath. And he became very happy about it, and then he understood that actually Lord is accepting his offerings also. So he continued with his offering, he didn't stop. So because of his purity, Lord Jagannath also told him that between the middle point of the ocean and I think Jagannath temple, There's a place in which there is a deity called Shweta Madhav. It was only Madhav before, or Matsya, Shweta Matsya. And that will be named after him because he served Jagannath very nicely. And he will get the salvation there at that spot. And so that place was called by his name, Shweta Madhav and Shweta Matsya, and the deities are still there. And afterwards the Kund was, I think, made afterwards, and Ganga was appearing afterwards. So because of the place Shweta Madhav, Shweta Matsya, that place called Shweta Ganga. Okay. Having had such a divine vision from Jagannath, Sachi Devi was very joyful. The day of Varuni Snan came. In the middle of the night, Sachi Devi went to the white Ganga, means Shweta Ganga. They translate everything. To bathe. As she bathed in Shweta Ganga, the current of Ganges picked her up and began moving along. The waters of Ganga overflooded the pond, and the current ran before her in the flood until she arrived at the Jagannath Mandir. Seeing this, thousands and thousands of the Dhamvasis of Jagannath Puri became ecstatic and took their bath in Ganges. The four directions were filled with prayers that were shouted in the great ecstasy, and there was a huge commotion. In the midst of the great jubilation, everyone bathed in Ganges. So because of her, even the one who couldn't go to Ganga Snan, to that Varuni Snan, even those devotees also sitting in Jagannath Puri could bathe in Ganga. In the midst of the commotion, the guards at the gate of the Jagannath temple awoke. They were speechless at seeing the commotion going on in all directions. Hearing a great noise, they went inside the temple. They began talking loudly amongst themselves. Hearing all the noise, the king had also awakened. Anxious to see that everything was all right, the king ordered the gates of the temple to be opened. At this time, the gates were opened. By some miracle, Sachi Devi was standing there alone inside the temple of Jagannath. The servants and pujaris of Jagannath concluded that she must be thief who has come to steal the valuable ornaments of Jagannath. So all these things were happening there. Everybody was taking bath there. But suddenly, everything disappeared. And then Sachi Mata was alone there. So when she was taking bath, she was taken away by the current of the Ganga to the lotus feet of Lord Jagannath. And because Lord Jagannath also wanted to see her, he also wanted to have some special darshan of her alone. She was coming to take darshan of Jagannath, too many people. So Jagannath maybe was not so happy. So then I need to have another appointment with her, another darshan, only hers. So he arranged in such a way that she was at night time, at that night when she was taking bath, she was taken to Jagannath's temple. And after the temple was opened, she was alone standing there. Many people said, "This cannot be. There must be some mystery here." Immediately, Sachi Devi was imprisoned in the dungeons to stand trial for theft. Sachi Devi's mind, however, did not become weak or confused. While imprisoned, she absorbed herself in constantly chanting the holy names of Krishna. This is the quality of the great devotees. They don't get disturbed very easily. As Haridas Thakur, he was beaten up in 22 marketplaces. He was not disturbed. He was chanting Hare Krishna. He was actually sorry for those people who were beating him, because he was praying to Krishna to please forgive them. They don't know what they're doing. This is what the great devotees are. So she also did not retaliate. She didn't say, "Oh no, I'm not thief. No, I didn't come here. I don't know how I came here." She didn't say anything in her defense. Nothing she said. She was just quietly chanting. And then they put her in jail. She was happy. Okay, now I can only chant and be absorbed. Finish. No problem. I don't have to manage anything. I don't have to see anything. I just sit here and chant. So that's why she did not say anything. Late that night, King Mukundadev saw Lord Jagannath in a dream. Jagannath angrily told him, "Immediately release Sachi Devi from your dungeons. It was because I wanted to personally arrange for washing her lotus holy feet." See, he wanted to have a special personal darshan of hers. "That I had the Ganges bring her to my temple. If you want your life to be auspicious, then you had better make the pandas and pujaris bow at her feet and pray for forgiveness. You yourself must take initiation from them." Okay, she was a great devotee of the Lord, and king knew that. He was going to hear her Bhagavatam. She was becoming very famous. He gave her the part of that Shwet Ganga, Sarvam Bhattacharya's place, as an offering by the order of Lord Jagannath. Still, he couldn't recognize her, that she is such a great devotee. How could she do that? He couldn't understand that that could also be Krishna's arrangement, Lord Jagannath's arrangement. He just got, this is the conditioning of conditioned soul, you can say. That they, without thinking, without understanding, they just take whatever is in front of their eyes. They don't want to see if it's true or not. Sometimes our eyes can also be not right because we are not perfect. They can also cheat us sometimes. So, but without thinking anything, he just imprisoned her. So that is why Lord Jagannath came to him and told him, that you have to release her immediately. And you have to ask forgiveness and take shelter of her. Also, there is another pastime, something similar, not exactly same, similar. When one time Mukunda Datta Das took Gadadhar Pandit to Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he told him, "Okay, I take you to one of the great devotees of Lord Chaitanya, not Lord Chaitanya, of the Lord, for you to take darshan." So they go there, and here when Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he was sitting on his couch, nice fancy couch with his fancy, whatever paraphernalia around. He had oil on his hair, all this, kingly opulence. And when Gadadhar Pandit saw, he couldn't recognize him. And he told Mukunda Datta, tell him, "Let's go back now. Ho gaya darshan, chalo. Let's go back." So then Mukunda Datta understood that, okay, he is not understanding him. He is not able to recognize him. So he chanted one prayer, one shloka from Srimad Bhagavatam. I don't know the shloka, but he chanted one shloka. Do you know, Mataji? Okay, it was something like Putana, I think he gave, I think that was a shloka, he gave salvation to Putana also, and who came to him with poison wanted to kill him. Even to her, he gave a motherly position. So when he heard that Pundarik Vidyanidhi, he lost all his consciousness. He started throwing his hands and legs, and he was completely in ecstasy, crying and laughing, and everything was thrown away, and then Gadadhar Pandit understood. He could see those ecstatic symptoms in Pundarik Vidyanidhi, and he understood, he made a big mistake. He committed an offense. And so then he asked from Mukunda Datta, I think he asked from Mukunda Datta or he asked from Mahaprabhu, I think Mukunda Datta, that I committed this offense, what shall I do now? So then he decided he will take initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. So he took initiation from Pundarik Vidyanidhi. It also makes sense because Pundarik Vidyanidhi is, according to Gaura Karnadesh Deepika, he is Vrishabhanu Maharaj, and Gadadhar Pandit is Radharani. So similarly here, Lord Jagannath told him to take shelter of her because he did not actually recognize her. and her greatness, although he saw her that she was so great, but still. And so to rectify his mistake, Lord Jagannath told him to take initiation from her. And also his pujaris and panda from Jagannath temple, they should also take initiation. On some places I was reading that she refused to give initiation to all of them, and but because king was begging from her, so she only accepted him. she has grown some tulsi plants, so she had made like a tulsi garden. She was taking care of tulsi garden. So in that, he at night time left the deity of Rasikrai, Krishna, in that garden because she didn't want to take him. And he left because he was scared also that if he doesn't hand over the deity, then he will be destroyed. So then Krishna comes in Ganga Mata's dream and tells her, I am so hungry, I am so thirsty, why are you not taking care of me? I came here to get your service and you're not even looking at me, you're not even taking care of me. I'm in your Tulsi garden, waiting for you to come. I'm so hungry and I'm so thirsty. Please come. And so she gets so ecstatic, and then she goes there and she gets this deity of Rasikrai, Radha Rasikrai. So right now, and then she establish also the worship of him. And this Brahman to whom she initiates, he starts worshipping all the deities. And right now, in that place, then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place is also called Ganga Mata Mat. It's also called Ganga Mata Mat. So right now there are 5 sets of deities being worshipped. One is Radha Rasikrai, second is Radha Madan Mohan, third is Radha Vinod, and fourth is Radha Raman, and fifth is Radha Shamasundar. And also they have the deity of Gauranga Mahaprabhu and Laddu Gopal. And plus of course Damodar Shila of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya is also there. So she brought him in and she had a festival for Rasikrai. And in this way she also started worshipping Rasikrai. Also at that time when Ganga Mata King Mukundev took initiation, he wanted to again offer something to Ganga Mata. She told him that every day you should send 2 pots of rice and 1 pot of vegetable or dal or something for here, and 160 paisa for the service of the devotees. She wanted that every day, and it's still going on. That I don't know about money, how much money is now. I'm sure it's not 160 paisa, but it's still 2 pots of rice and 1 pot of sabji still goes there every day, midday. And so Ganga Mata Goswami was staying there, doing her bhajan. At the age of 120, she decided to leave this world and enter into the spiritual world and serve there eternally to Radha Krishna. Jai Radhe Shyam. It's actually, why do we hear all these things? Why do we hear about the great devotees? Actually, it's more interesting to hear about the devotees than to hear about the Lord. Because we cannot really reach there. It's too high. But by hearing by the devotees, we can see that, we can feel that they're actually one of us. They were with us. They were in this world. They were doing that. And also for our purification. We hear about the devotees for our purification. I think it's Puri also. It's near in Ganga Mata Mat, near there. Samadhi of Ganga Mata Goswami is also there near Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place, nearby there. Any other question?
Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's house, I think you've probably seen as well. Still that tunnel
Yes.
is there.
Yeah.
Where Mahaprabhu, he couldn't go take darshan because too many people were following him.
Yeah.
So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya made a tunnel, and you can still see how he would go down all the way to the temple.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if she was aware of that, or
I'm sure.
Yeah.
I'm sure.
But
But, she lived there like, she was 50 years old when she went to Puri.
Yeah.
And she left this world 120.
Yeah.
So 70 years she was there. I'm sure she knew about the
Yeah.
tunnel. But even now also, they also have that, it's called Pothi in Hindi. But that book, it's not a book, it's like, in old time they had this Bhojpatra in which they were writing.
Yes.
They bind it, and it's still there of Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's, in Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya's place.
Yeah.
If you go to Pujari, give him some money, he can show you.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Nice shot Buddha.
yeah,
And in your new car, you gave a lot of money and then
Yeah.
that whole
Yeah.
place.
yeah,
It was falling apart. It
yeah,
took it upon himself.
yeah. They're trying, the Pujaris are also asking from different devotees to help in renovating things, yeah. Yeah,
That's nice. One of our own
yeah,
ISKCON devotees have
Yeah,
helped
yeah.
to keep the glories
Yeah.
of that holy place alive.
yeah. Any other question?
Please excuse my ignorance. I'm still learning. I just wanted, Mataji told about the tunnel, right? Would you be able to elaborate a little bit on that story? I just want to know what it is. Sorry.
Mahaprabhu was going to Jagannath temple to take darshan every day, but because of his personality and everybody knew he is the Lord, so everybody wanted to take darshan of him. So many people would come on his way to take darshan, so it was getting a little difficult for him to go there. And his devotees, they had to like hold from both sides and make like a circle or protect him from the people. So then Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya thought, well, maybe we should do something about it. So he made this tunnel which was going from actually I think the tunnel was already before there, because he was the head priest also of the Jagannath temple. So the tunnel was already there, but he himself was also going, instead of going from outside, he would go from tunnel to the temple. So Mahaprabhu also would go from the tunnel to the temple to take darshan easily, so without any distraction or without any disturbance.
Sarvabhauma was maintaining that temple.
Yeah, Sarvabhauma was maintaining that, because it was from his house.
Yeah.
It was from his house to the temple. We actually hear so many tunnel here, and then Pandavas made tunnel to get out of the Lakshagraha, but this is the tunnel we can see. That tunnel we don't know, but this tunnel we can see. It's there, it's covered, you cannot go in, but it's there.
You can look down.
Yeah, you can look down, but you cannot go down. Yeah. Anything else?
Since the Shweta Ganga is right across, I wonder if that tunnel is going under.
No.
It must be going around.
Yeah.
Down
Yeah.
the main road to the Lion Gate.
Yeah. Yeah. That will be difficult to make it underwater. Huh? Of course, that they were very advanced at that time also, but still,
Shweta Ganga is very wonderful.
it's very big also.
Very beautiful.
And very big also, it's very big. At one place I was reading actually that the water of the Shweta Ganga is very deep. It's very, very deep. And they were saying that there is no, no base of that. It's going right in the earth. It's very deep. So it's a Ganga actually. So Ganga is very deep.
The pilgrims, they bathe on the side. You never see them
No.
going in the
No. And those Shweta Madhav and Shweta Matsya is still being worshipped there. And also 9 Graha, the 9 planets. There's also temple of 9 Graha, 9 planets. Yeah. You all been to Puri? Yeah? She's going every day. Every year, Mataji, Mahadevi Mataji. That's her second house, I think.
Mahaprabhu sat under that big banyan tree.
Where?
Big banyan
The Shweta Ganga. Yeah.
that banyan tree.
It's also auspicious. Yeah. Yeah, well, the whole Jagannath Puri, he was walking around on all the roads, all the streets. So, maybe he was sitting somewhere else also. So, just like in Vrindavan, we say this is this gully, Krishna was grazing the cows here, but he was going everywhere. Everywhere. Every gully and every road and every street and every house. Right? He was going to every house to steal the butter. He was doing that. So, every place, dham, that's why dham is also called Chintamani dham. Raj is the dust of dham, is very special, because when Mahaprabhu or Krishna, when they're walking on that, and the dust doesn't stay on one place. It's flying around here and there. So it's like with the association, if you want to know the person, you can know by his association. Right? The thieves mostly will have thieves around. The devotees, they like to stay with the devotees. So this Raj is moving from one place to the other place, making the other area of where maybe Mahaprabhu was not standing or sitting also important and special, because it's touching that Raj where Mahaprabhu was standing. So that is why every part of Dham is very special and very important for us. Some people, they think, now in Vrindavan also, within Parikrama is Vrindavan. Out of Parikrama is not Vrindavan. So it's very interesting. Krishna was in Braj Kos, 84 Kos. He was going everywhere. He was going everywhere. There was no one place. And he stayed in Vrindavan for 11 years. For 11 years, you think he was only going to one place to graze the cows? He was going everywhere. So, yeah. Raman Reiti, everywhere. Actually, you go, there are different small places like Vamchivat. It seems like a very small area, and that tree is still there, in which if you put your ear, you can hear something. So that looks like a small area, but Vamchivat is not a small area, it's a big area. Ras Mandal, where they perform Ras Leela, it's not a small area. It's a very big area. So this is actually inconceivable. We cannot even imagine that dham. Anything else? Yes.
Mataji, as we all know that you are a very nice cook, and Mataji also introduced about your cooking skills, and you are cooking for Radha Shyam Sundar from long time. So I just want to know that we are cooking at our home, and sometimes when we cook for festivals or some special occasion, that time our consciousness is there, we are cooking for Krishna. But for regular cooking, we are not conscious about Krishna. We are more conscious about our family members, or who will eat what, and all these things. So how can we maintain that consciousness? How can we be Krishna conscious while cooking bhoga for the lordships?
Well, first thing is that even if you are doing it for your family is a devotee, your husband is a devotee, right? So, because he's a devotee, he's not going to eat himself first. He's definitely going to offer to Krishna, right? So this is already, whenever you're making something, even if you're not thinking of Krishna, but back of your mind, this is for Krishna, first we are going to offer to Krishna. But you just have to be a little bit, we have to be a little bit practical, one thing. Second thing, this also comes by practice. Every time you make something, consciously you have to say, okay, this is for Krishna. Just take out few seconds. Just before starting your cooking, few seconds. I also don't think that much. But within my heart, I knew what I'm cooking is going to go first to Krishna. So this is the consciousness. It doesn't have to be separately, okay, I sit down and meditate. First I have to, cook for Krishna. It's not like that. Krishna is kind also. He understands. In the temple is different, because temple is a worship place. We worship Krishna, and it's also in Aishwarya, with opulence. And we cook here what Krishna likes. And at home, because we are living entities, we also have to eat something. We cannot eat fried food all the time. Krishna can. One time when I was baking for the deities, long time ago, it's very long time ago, maybe 30 years ago, and then maybe, I don't know, when was Kadambakarna Maharaj president, you remember? When was it? 25 years at least. So we were cooking for Krishna, and then something happened, some incident happened, that our head cook, he was always finding fault in our baking. For some reason, maybe we were not cooking nicely, I don't know. But anyway, so I was, as a young devotee, I was like, how can he do that? We are trying to do so nicely, he's always finding fault in that. So okay, we have to do something about it. And so then I told my friend, whose day was it for baking, I told her, you bake for the deities after 4. After Mangalarti, you just immediately go to the kitchen, bake and lock the kitchen and come out. So she did that. And then the temple president's wife came and saw there's no one baking there today. And then my friend said, well, temple president is going to call us and he's going to chastise us. Why are you worried? We already baked for the deities. We just have to put our point there. That's it. And so then, finally, he found out that it was our day. So he called us, and then we spoke to him. Whatever problem was, we solved it. And then at the end, he said something that was really nice. He said, Krishna is a young, hungry boy. You have to feed him always. So in the temple, they have to do what Krishna likes, or what is standard setup. In Mahaprasad, if you see it, the Rajbhog Mahaprasad or evening Mahaprasad, things are fried. Krishna can eat. He's a young boy. He doesn't get sick. He can digest everything. But we get old. We cannot eat these things like this. You can eat maha, little bit maha is okay. But we need to see what to nourish our bodies so we can nicely engage ourselves in Krishna's service. For that we have to take care of our health and our body. And for that we have to see what is the need of our body. So whatever it is at home, whatever it is, you offer that to Krishna. You don't have to make any extra endeavor, but if you feel that you want to keep that consciousness, then just before you cook, you can think that, okay, I'm going to cook for Krishna. And then you will take prasad.
One more thing, Mataji, I want to ask, sometimes cooking becomes a burden on us, it feels like I can spend time for more chanting, more rounds, or I can read Bhagavatam, it's 3 hours, 6 hours, 5 to 6 hours cleaning kitchen, and this takes lots of time. So how can we motivate ourselves? It is also a service, and it is also purifying us, or it is also helping us to advance in our Krishna consciousness, so that we can do it with good consciousness.
You're cooking for your husband every day?
Yes.
You have deities at home?
No.
But
we have frames, photos.
But you have cooking for your husband every day, right? So when you have to cook for yourself, only for yourself, so your husband is gone somewhere, and you're alone, and you have to cook only for yourself, don't cook that day. Don't cook that day and then read and chant more. But you have to cook when your husband is there. Because that you're not cooking for yourself. He needs to eat something also. Right? So the point is that we have to, this is also a service. If your body is not healthy, how can you read and chant? You cannot read and chant. If we get a headache, it gets so difficult for us to sit down and chant. So if you don't keep your body healthy, Prabhupada said first health comes. Then comes chanting, then comes service, then comes reading. So first is the health. So you have to take care of your health. For that you have to cook, you have to eat proper food for the nourishment of your body. And so when you're cooking, you have to think like that I have to do service to my deities or my whatever, Thakurji, or I want to chant more and I want to chant nicely, I want to read nicely. For that my body has to be healthy. For that I have to cook properly. If your health is not good, you cannot do anything. You cannot do service, you cannot do chanting, you cannot do reading. Right? So that is why you have to be very careful with your health and take care of your health. And also take care of your husband's health so he can do service. You're not only doing for yourself, you're also doing for your husband. He is depending on you, right? On your cooking. So, although you want to chant more, you want to read more, but this is also a service. You just have to take it as a service. Everything as a service. When you are practicing Krishna consciousness, everything is actually is a service. Even the eating is a service. That's why it's called.
Eating and dancing God.
Well, it's also called prasad seva. We do seva, it's a service. So cooking is also service and taking prasad is also service. If you don't do this service, then your health is not good and then you cannot read and chant. So it's better you spend some time in the kitchen and cook properly and have good health and then read and chant. Okay? Anything else? So we stop here.
Thank you so much,
Hare Krishna.
Poornima, for your wonderful class and Ganga Mata Goswamini's life. So we learned so many things. I didn't know personally about her so much. And it's very wonderful to hear about all these great Vaishnavis in our line. Because I think we can relate more with Vaishnavis than Prabhus.
They inspire us more because we are one of them.
Yes, we can relate. So we are trying to, in future, also have this, our Vaishnavi Sanga. The subject will be like the Vaishnavis, the great Vaishnavis that we know them. We hear their name, but we know less about them. But now we will increase more knowledge about them. Thank you so much. So before we close this session, I would like to ask Lakshmi Priya, Mataji, Her Grace Lakshmi Priya. She's now, please, Lakshmi Priya, come over. She's in charge of, not in charge, she doesn't want to be named in charge. She's now doing service in Krishna Balaram Cultural Center, and she would like to give some information about the new project. Please.
Hare Krishna, everybody. So I'm Lakshmi Priya Dasi. So how many of you are aware of the new project that Krishna Balaram Mandir is going to go through? Okay. So as you know, this temple, most of you would know this temple was built in 1975. On Ram Navami Day it was opened. So since then, unfortunately, this temple is now, many buildings here are structurally unsafe. So the temple management, in talking with the structural engineers, has come up with a redevelopment, a renovation plan for the temple. Some of them one of them has already happened. That's the Gurukul. It's already gone to Ajay, as you must have heard about that. And so now there are other places, like we are having a new Govinda restaurant, a bigger one, a Krishna Hall, Balram Hall, new ones. Then we are coming up with a Samadhi for Sri Ayendra Prabhu. And then above all, we are going to have this building where we are. This building is also going to, as it is said, is not very structurally safe. So we are coming up with a new guest house. So, and as Srila Prabhupada said, as you all know, this was the home of Srila Prabhupada. And Prabhupada said this is the most sacred place in the within the cosmic universe, and one who's seeking to achieve spiritual emancipation by entering the kingdom of God can make a home in Vrindavan. With that said, this is our turn. We know, we are here today because of Srila Prabhupada. So this is our turn to do some service. So this is an invitation to serve in whichever way possible. like you can either be a sponsor of the room, or if you know somebody who would like to stay a month in Vrindavan. See, not many people would stay throughout the year. If they want to stay a month, so then they can do a time share in the guest house. Or if you want to do something for Srila Ayendra Prabhu Samadhi, or help in the Krishna Hall, building of the Krishna Hall. There are various ways, and we have our office down next to Govinda. There is the KBCC, which is the Krishna Balram Cultural Center office, and there are a few of us who are a part of this project. So, and we have our number here, which is 1-800-121-9661, and we have an email address also and a website also. So we look forward, and because this is basically, it has to be, for the guest house, it has to be people who are following the 4 regulative principles, and mainly we are looking for devotees. So if you all know anybody, if you'd like, please come and contact us, and we look forward for your support. And thank you very much for hearing. Hare Krishna.